Hello, this is Sanjay Joseph and welcome to the Jet Talk Show. Our today's guest is Mr. Anish Bari. Anish is currently studying public policy and public administration at Harvard Kennedy School and Massachusetts Institute of Technology and is gearing up to start an impact investment fund for innovative solutions in developing countries. Anish Bari is a serial social entrepreneur in technology space in India and also author of several best-selling books including The Dreams of the Mango People, Brush Up Your Quant and Decoding Startups. He is currently a Mason Fellow at Harvard Kennedy School and is a Global Shaper alumni at the World Economic Forum. Anish has received many awards including the Most Promising Entrepreneur of the Year award by TI, the Indus Entrepreneur, and has been a winner of European Union Business Challenge. He has founded an edtech company and built a platform called NEET Prep for students preparing for medical entrance examinations. Over 1.5 million students across India learn from his platform. Anish was also instrumental in scaling Bandhan Tod campaign on child marriage as a CEO of Gender Alliance that became a global story of tool for countering a social evil like child marriage. Melinda Gates has mentioned about his initiative in her book The Moment of Lift. During the COVID pandemic, Anish founded iBihar, a platform of like-minded people to extend a helping hand to his home state. He and his friend raised funds through crowdfunding campaigns and helped people by supporting public hospitals with 200 bed facilities at 13 different locations in Bihar. He donated the ECMA machine to All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Patna, where he actually his place of birth and his native place, which is the first ECMO setup in Bihar that is instrumental in saving lives of critical patients.
Thank you, sir. So finally, I'm glad that this could happen. And thank you for this incredible introduction. I think I should write it down and use it on different platforms to talk about myself. But sir, you have been really kind, and it's really inspiring, and it was my fortune as well to have interacted with you during my formative years, and I really admire what you do, and you have mentored so many students like myself, and you really helped me in shaping my perspective and making me believe in the power of dreams. And it's absolute pleasure to be here today, and it feels like I'm sitting in a time machine and getting transported back to St. Michael's days. So I wish I could turn back the time, but it's really pleasure. I mean, I've been trying to do this, and just because of the schedule, but I was looking forward to it, and really honored and really very happy to be here and interacting with you.
So Anish, let us take the talk forward now. I could recall that you were very good in sports and games, and as well as you were doing well as a student. So our students and our audience will like to hear about the impact of sports and games and your connection with them, as well as your journey of life further.
I think as far as my journey is concerned, I've always been an average student and born and brought up in Patna, studied at St. Michael's. But I was actually very passionate about sports. Just like any other kid, I liked playing cricket and badminton. And someone suggested my mother that cricket would distract me from studies, and chess is a good game to build concentration. So my mother introduced me to the game of chess, and I started playing chess, and I started participating in district level and state level championships. Eventually started winning those championships, but I kept playing cricket and badminton for fun. So after playing for some time, nothing great happened in terms of studies. I comfortably maintained to sustain myself in a band of average student, and I really liked that space to be in. But then I got selected to participate in international rating chess championship, and I was ranked fourth, and I got my international chess ranking of 2194, and then got selected to represent India at World Junior Chess Championship. Uh, so I had glorious time when I reflect back to my sports days. I mean, I had glorious time. It helped me in many ways to do well in life. I also represented the state of Bihar in badminton at nationals level. So, so during those times, as you know, right, and you might be doing well in subjects like physics, chemistry, and maths, and out of nowhere, your parents think that you are fit to be an engineer. So it was the same case with me. I was relatively good, or was somewhat doing okay in those subjects. So my parents gave me two options: either become a doctor or become an engineer. So I applied a bit of quantitative analysis, and I realized that to become a doctor, one need to study for 10, 12 years, and to become an engineer, you need to study for 4 years. So my choice was obvious, and I decided to sit for engineering entrance examinations, and then I got through a college in Bangalore, which is PESIT. So I joined the computer science department, and it was one of the best college in Karnataka. And there also, I was very comfortable in maintaining myself in the band of average students. So, but yeah, at the same time, I was very observant what was happening. So in some subjects, if I like, I used to pay attention what's being taught instead of focusing on grades and numbers. So once I graduated from my engineering, I got through a company, a multinational software company called Hewlett Packard, and I started working there. And I worked there for a couple of years doing programming, software programming, and the e-governance project was in a very nascent stage that time. So, and HP was building this software for e-tendering, and I was working on that, writing codes. And then one day I realized that whatever I am doing, despite I was relatively um, okay, not good, but I was really relatively okay doing software programming. But I then realized that my work is not impacting something in the real world. So this is something that I don't want to do for my rest of my life. So I decided to quit, and I started preparing for this management entrance examinations. So I wrote GMAT. I got a very decent score of 700, and then applied to couple of universities. So out of which I decided to join Asian Institute of Management in Manila, which was founded by Harvard Business School. So I went there to pursue my MBA, and that place actually helped me in broadening my perspective and the canvas of dreams. So, and I was very observant around what is happening. I've always been very observant and trying to learn and understand. So I started focusing on entrepreneurship. I participated there in many business plan competitions. I won a business plan competition by AIM and European Union, and then went on to participate at Asia Venture Challenge, which is a very premier business plan competition in Bangkok. So I led a team there, and we were the divisional runner-up there. So after my MBA, I came back to India. I started consulting with different organizations, including United Nations and Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. And then I met my friend who was from Harvard. We wanted to do something together. and we decided that we need to do something in the field of education because I we both realized that there are limited number of good teachers but unlimited numbers of learners. So there's a supply and demand mismatch. So we wanted to use technology to increase the capacity utilization of great teachers to reach the unreached. So we launched our startup. We raised money through venture capital and all these institutional investors, and we created a platform called Neat Prep and Learner. And eventually, more than 1.5 million students in India they started learning through our platform. So that was my journey from from pure software to a management professional, then worked in a consulting space for a bit, and then building and scaling a startup. So yeah, I mean, it's been a roller coaster ride, but quite a different yet enriching experience.
So, Anish, during the school days, I find it is very difficult for students to straight away select their field of interest and about their future, about their jobs, etc. Like, I do understand this, but a lot of pressure from parents, and then what happens? People start becoming very stagnant. They select a goal which they're not aware that whether they can continue this in future or not, and then set up their path on that fixed direction. So I think so. Can you throw some light on that? How to make choices in life?
I think it's a great question that how do you make choices in your life? And so there's something called system one, system two, right? I mean, one is the analytical part, wherein you optimize on the opportunities that you have, right? So probably it could be a position or admission to a college or any particular industry that you want to be in. So, and the other part is the qualitative way of to think long term. It is linked to long term strategic thinking. You have to introspect, reflect, and uh, decide that what are the values that you would like to go by, and this is a sweet spot that you really want to do. It is important to love what you do and do what you love, and everyone has got that intuition, and just by being observant and by having the growth mindset, you keep on sharpening that intuition, right? So I think everyone has that, and it will give you wings, to fly and to realize and steer your direction in a in a way that you will achieve your full potential. So I think you need to create a balance between those, and it is very important. So yeah, I mean, it's many a times it's people do tend to think in a short term, but to be able to make it sustainable, it is important to be in a growth mindset and think long term. So you have to keep introspecting, keep asking yourself, every day that where you want to go and how you can navigate those paths. So yeah, I think that's the framework that I adhere to, and many peoples have different contexts, different situation, but I think this framework can fit in a way to to navigate those paths and realize your true potential.
Anish, after that school life, after a gap of almost 10, 12 years, we met again. And this time I was very much, happy about knowing that you were doing something for the state with regard to social upliftment and, good cause in the field of education and other parts as well. So can you a little bit throw some light on that endeavor of yours, that Bandhan Tod group? Can you please share that with our audience?
Sir, I think there is no fixed formula, and the world is so uncertain. Eventually, it's your journey. You have to own it. But so like if I reflect back and if I try to reflect back and talk about my journey, so after building a startup and scaling it up, uh, I'll tell you a very interesting story, and I think you know about this Bandhan Tod campaign that I was associated with. Uh, so when I was working in an edtech space, I wanted to improve the condition of public education system in India and particularly in my state, Bihar. So I came back to Patna to spend some time with my family, and I was trying to talk to few people in education department, trying to understand if this edtech solution can fit in and help them learn, help them integrate in their system, and can help students in improving their learning outcomes. So I met a girl there and few people who were very passionate about social developments. I met a girl called Prashanti Tiwari. She was leading a campaign of Bandhan Tod under Gender Alliance. So they wanted to integrate this education and life skills, and I was made cognizant about that in Bihar, the percentage of child marriage was 40%, and it was highest in India. And I was really taken aback with this statistics. I never thought about this, and it's a cyclic problem, right? Once you, if you think of a child marriage as a problem, then obviously you'll able to trace out that why there's a girls drop out in the school. So I decided to support them with my knowledge of technology, and they were already doing incredible job in reaching out to community, uh, making them aware about child marriage, about rights. So I offered a technological solution that basically we can use a mobile app wherein you can plug in all the educational content, and I'm glad that you recorded educational content to be used on those platforms so that any student in any particular village can learn. So I wanted to build a platform wherein anyone can learn from great teachers, so for different subjects. And also we integrated videos of life skill videos, motivational videos, videos on child marriage, what are the rights. And we integrated a distress button in the app, SOS. So if any girl is in the distress, they can raise an SOS button and it get notified to different civil society members and eventually to administration. So after the launch of this particular app, I think over 500 girls were being saved from being a victim of child marriage. So I think this was very powerful, using technology in a way to make those girls empowered, and help them to fight social evils like child marriage and help them in raising their economic class by getting proper education from great knowledge providers. So after some time, I was informed that Melinda Gates launched her new book called The Moment of Lift, and she mentioned about our technology, our campaign of Bandhan Tod. And so yeah, I think many things that happens in our life, it just come as a surprise, and you just have to be observant. I mean, and what is also important is the cross functional learning. So whatever in India, we tend to fix ourselves in a particular spectrum of space, right? If I am a technocrat, for example, so I'll be doing only software programming for, building ERP solutions, or working for any service company. But you can also think how you apply your knowledge of management technology to solve social problems, right? So after Melinda Gates mentioned about this, then the state government launched official campaign against child marriage, and the girls who were being saved from being a victim of child marriage, they started their formal education in schools. So I feel this is very powerful, and this was the reason. And I think I then realized that to be able to impact in a big way, you need to understand where intervention is required. And with the scale of such kind of problem, with such a magnitude, it is not always possible that you keep on doing multiple interventions. What is important is that you need to figure out what would be the most powerful intervention, so that related problems, will revolve around it and it gets solved. So that was the reason I decided that I need to do a course in public administration and public policy. And as always, always thought of applying to Harvard and for this course and this Mason program, which they call Master in Public Administration. That's their flagship program. So that's how I applied to Harvard, and I got through, and I was accepted, and that's how I came here. And it's just been 3 months, and I can certainly tell you that this have been the most wonderful months in my life, wherein you get to learn from the world leaders, the legendary professors, and what an amazing classmates. They all have been change makers, and it's a wonderful experience and opportunities for learning. So yeah, so that's the point, right? I mean, you just have to be very keen and observant, about around your surroundings, and always try to be in a growth mindset to be able to take things on a altogether on a different level.
Anish, I would like to share that a lot of talk about, in the modern world is about entrepreneurships and startups. So, I think so. It is more or less, first people should figure out that what are they really going to do? What are their skill set? Is the startup which they will take is matching their skill set? Do they have the right team to do that? Are they prepared with the funds, or are they able to get the fund sources? All these things, a lot of questions, because people straight away jump into entrepreneurship and then they cannot figure out what to do and all. So, is it that easy or difficult? Can you put on some or throw some light on this, Anish? That will be so nice of you.
Entrepreneurship is not an easy journey, right? I mean, it's a rough path, and there's no I in startup. So when I decided to venture into the edtech space, or probably you say entrepreneurship, I mean, it is difficult, right? Despite you raise funds, and the Indian ecosystem is still evolving. So there were times, right, we were trying to innovate and come up with a new model, right? And because we wanted to be a book my show of classes, wherein any students can book class for any great teachers. And so we started doing that, and we wanted to test different hypotheses. So some were working, some were not working. So we did a lot of pilot, and we were losing money also, right? Because we had to pay salaries to our staff. So there were times, because as a founder, we took a very modest salary, and there were times, you started getting a feel, yaar, main kya kar raha hu? My friends were earning phenomenal money in different multinational company, in consulting company, and I was drawing a very more modest salary, and probably, I was thinking, यार 30,000 तो रेंट में चले जाते हैं, एंड दिल्ली में एंड बाकी ट्रैवलिंग में चला जाता है, तो एक तो ना पैसे बच रहे हैं, ना इधर आई एम मेकिंग मनी, और कस्टमर्स भी नहीं आ रहे हैं. सो व्हाट आई एम डूइंग हियर. एंड सो बट या देन आई डिसाइडेड कि मुझे 2 साल तक तो ये करना है. सो दिस इज समथिंग, एंड इवेंचुअली इट वर्कड. एंड उसके बाद व्हेन आई डिसाइडेड कि भाई अब तो इसको स्केल अप कर दिया, एंड so then I knew that leadership is also about quitting at the right time, because as I said, I always been into a band of people who are willing to explore new things. So I decided that I need a new problem statement, and probably build a skill set to be able to make more impact. And So then that's how मैंने वो ट्रैवर्स किया वो पाथ जो था एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप का. इट्स अ रफ थिंग एंड देयर वर टाइम्स व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड फीलिंग यार अब नहीं होगा, अब छोड़ देता हूँ, बट as I said, persistence and perseverance, they takes you to places and eventually things will fall in place. And that's what happened. So, and entrepreneurship is something that it cannot be taught, right? You have to experience it. You have to uh, try out multiple test cases. You have to see क्या चल रहा है, क्या नहीं चल रहा है. Especially in the technology, चीजें बहुत तेजी से बदलती है. So you have to do A/B testing and see what is working, what is not working. Probably you see different model in different industry, and then probably think, यार ये वाला मॉडल को अगर मैं ऐसे थोड़ा tweak कर दूं, whether it will work or not. So there are a lot of permutation and combinations, right? And so yeah, that's how it is. I think just to reiterate my point, I think it boils down to whether you have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. A growth mindset is something that I subscribe to is that you're willing to explore, you're willing to learn, and you're willing to new ideas. Wherein in fixed mindset, you have some skill set and you believe you're already on the top and there's no potential for improvement. So I always feel that being in a space of growth mindset is always good, because careers and all these achievements, right, they are not ladders anymore that you have a fixed steps and you can move and you can eventually achieve the things. Eventually some people do it, but I think you can never plan from your seat today where you are going tomorrow, because and if you will try to draw that line, you will get it wrong, because world has become so fast, so complex, and it is important to be observant around surroundings. And I keep repeating this to people, and because there'll be a lot of up and down in your career and your life. So what will happen that most of the opportunities will come along your way in those white spaces wherein you'll be taken up by surprise, right, in a positive way or negative way. And if you have a growth mindset, then you'll be able to draw patterns from that and apply it to in your real life. So I think that is very important. And as you said, right, I mean, you have been telling this right from our school, right? Because it is I remember that you used to tell your students like कि श्याम सुंदर तुम नंबर की चिंता मत करो, उसकी करो, कुछ सवाल बनना आना चाहिए, कंसेप्ट आना चाहिए, right? And I was the Shyam Sundar of your class, so I remember all these things. So many times when you say Shyam Sundar, वो मैं ही होता था. So, but jokes apart, I think this is really important, and this will actually help any person, in realizing and realizing and achieving the true potential.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Anish. Your journey was very insightful, very inspirational. The true meaning of education is that the education which you get comes to the use of mankind. And what better use of it that it comes to the use of people and place where you belong to. So Anish, you're truly doing that, and I'm so proud of you. Very soon hope to see you in person, and I wish you all the best for your future endeavors. Stay connected, stay in touch. God bless you. Thanks a lot.